right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. As you can see, I am back here in this tiny office, and I managed to get things set up to be able to show that map at the beginning and do my normal countdown music and all that stuff, but we're going to save that for the end. In the meantime, I want to show you around a little bit and what I'm doing today. It's been fun. So first, I'm going to say hi to some people in the chat who don't normally join, since we are live in the late afternoon Pacific time. So hey, everybody in New Zealand and Australia who can actually join this time instead of at the middle of the night for you. And if you are joining from Europe, I don't know why you're still awake, but that's a different problem. And yes, there is a bit of a lag, which I'll explain later when I get to explaining how this is set up, because that is different than I did last time, although I do have the YoloBox Pro with me again today. I am streaming from the YoloBox Pro. Audio is choppy. I was testing it earlier and it sounded fine to me. I'm just going to go with it and hope that it's not too bad. Let me know if it is too bad, if I need to stop and just fix it. It's, is it low? I guess it does look a little bit low. I'll bump it up a bit. Okay, that should help a little bit. And can I go a little more? Not easily. I can't go easily. I can't go up much more. Well, okay, so this is all you get. I've got pretty much everything cranked up to the max here. So let me show you around this room. I've got some new cameras and stuff to be able to show to show you what's going on here. So I'm at this desk. Wait, let me back up. The goal of this office. This is the Auth0 office in Bellevue, Washington. The idea is that we want people to be able to come into this room and record edited videos, either demos at a computer or just talking head videos, as well as two-person interviews sitting over on those chairs. So we basically need two different sets, one for sort of the solo view, which is what you're seeing now, and one for the two-person setting over at the chairs where it's more interview style. And this is it's meant to be a permanent setup, and it's meant to be used by people who are not video people, so it needs to be, you just drop in, everything's ready to go. Shouldn't have to do much more than that to get going. And so everything needs to be ready at all times. You turn on the cameras, pop in an SD card, make it as easy as possible for people to come in and record things. This is going to be put to the test twice in the near future. So the one is tomorrow morning. I'm actually doing one of my workshops for work from here, since I'm up here and it was easier to do it here than to race home tonight. And the other is next week, when a bunch of us are actually recording a series of talks for a big event we're doing in August. So I'm actually going to be back here to help out with the recording, since I don't think I trust myself yet to get this all set up in a way that's hands-off for people. So I'll be coming in just to make sure that we haven't left out any major pieces, which is actually great, because there are already a few missing pieces, which I'll explain as I'm going through the room here. Okay, so that's the goal of this space. This is a small room. It is, I think I measured it. No, I didn't measure. I ballparked it last time. It looks like it's about less than 10 foot by 10 foot square. I think one dimension might be 9 feet, the other might be 10 feet. Ryan asks, is this office set up purely for pre-records or also for live streams? It should be possible to do live streams in here, although that's not the expected use most of the time. There's no plans to put in live streaming gear other than cameras. So if someone did want to run a live stream, they would be doing it from their own computer, unless things go fantastically and we decide to deck it out more and then bring in some sort of streaming hardware in here as well, which will be an interesting question about what hardware to put in here, given that it is given the target audience for using it. Okay, so the two cameras. Is it clipping now? I forgot my headphone cord to plug in my headphones into this, so I can't actually hear the audio out of the YoloBox. It doesn't look like it's clipping in the YoloBox, so that means it's not clipping on the ATEM, which I can see, but I can turn down the YoloBox a little more and see if that helps. While I explain, it sounds like it's cutting in and out. So let me explain the routing of what's going on, just because while we're talking about the audio. What I've got here is so on my table, I've got the YoloBox Pro. I've got now 3 cameras plugged in. So I've got this camera that you're seeing. It's kind of reflective, the light's up there. The wireless camera you're seeing, the main camera, and then the camera at the other set. I've also got a USB webcam over there, and I've got SD card video. And this is actually streaming not to YouTube today. This is actually streaming to my studio. So it is streaming RTMP directly into my studio in Portland. And what that means is I can mix the show as if I were in Portland. So if you look at my computer screen, which is what I am seeing right now, you can see the multi-view of my ATEM, which is a bit of a trick. Chat, I've got my multi-view of the ATEM, and I'm only really using one video source here, but I'm also using it for the comments, which are over here. So last time the YoloBox Pro audio was great. I don't know what happened. But with that on the screen, you can see that there's the chat message here, there's the key, and I'm doing the keying in the ATEM like normal, putting it over the video that I'm streaming from up here. So that is, I'm only using the one video input in the ATEM, which is over here. And so that's the sort of setup, and I'm doing that so that I can, thanks for the super chat. Oh yeah, that's the delay. So the delay is the RTMP stream going from the YoloBox to Portland, and then that's why I'm not, when I'm clicking the chat messages and stuff, the messages are getting crossed a little bit. So yeah, what is different than the last time? I'm using the same Rode Wireless Go. Actually, technically it's a different Rode Wireless Go, but it's the same device, Rode Wireless Go 2, plugged into the YoloBox directly. I could do an experiment, and I could plug in I don't know if I trust my settings to do that on the fly, but I could plug in the Rode Wireless Go into something other than the YoloBox, which could solve it. Not clipping, it's small cuts in the audio. So yeah, that's it. That's the only difference. I mean, there's no difference. It's the same. I guess it could be interference at the Rode Wireless Go. It could be actual wireless interference that we're hearing. It could be that, which would be really unfortunate because we are planning on using these to actually do the recording. here's a thought. I happen to have a wired lav mic here, and we could find out if I can plug this into the YoloBox. Otherwise, I could plug it into a camera. And then we can at least eliminate wireless interference as the source of the problem. Yeah, so I don't have headphones. I don't have headphones to plug in, which is my mistake. And I was testing the audio setup, and it sounded fine to me through my computer speakers. But again, I didn't have headphones to actually listen to it. So my testing was somewhat limited. But it worked so well last time, I figured there'd be no problem. Let me just go and... Why are these such a tangled mess? Okay. Is this going to work if I plug it into the YoloBox Pro? This is a deity lav mic with like a 10-foot cord, which is hopefully long enough for me to wander around a little bit, even being tethered to the desk. So, if I can just get the last of this tangle out. Nope, I can't get the rest of that tangle out. Is there a trick to this? I don't think there's a trick to this. Okay, so if I plug this in, to the mic jack on the YoloBox. Okay, the YoloBox just switched over to the mic input. It did that automatically. I plugged in the lav mic into the wired jack, and yeah, that worked great. So it switched over. The levels look fine on the YoloBox. I can't hear it, but it looks fine. And it looks extremely quiet coming into the ATEM now. The levels, this is really confusing because the levels in the YoloBox look like they're good. Like it's hitting the same level as the wireless one was. So I don't know what's going on there. Okay, let's go back and back to the road, and then I'm going to plug this into a camera. No, that's going to be delayed if I do that one. Now we get to try out this camera. So here is this little USB camera. This is the OBSBot. So it should be, track me. Go, go. Come on. It should be tracking my face. Where are you? Where are you? Turn on. No? I can just spin it around. Do you know who I am? Camera. Hello. There we go. Yes? No? I don't know why that one's not cooperating. So I'm going to plug in that lav mic into the Sony camera, which is, oh, I can't point that camera down there. And like it's coming in too hot. Give me a second to adjust it on the Sony camera down here. This is riveting content. Yeah, I swear I tested this ahead of time, but something is going on. The other variable here that is different than last time is I am streaming to my studio rather than to YouTube. So it is very possible that that is actually the problem. Okay, turning that down a bit because flipping in the camera, that looks better. So, try to not get wrapped up in that. The Sony camera is coming in here. How does this sound? Is this better? This looks better. It looks better to me in all. It looks better to me on all the levels. So I see YoloBox levels look good. I see the, yeah, I can show you. The YoloBox Pro is hitting the yellow when I'm talking, and the ATEM, sorry about that reflection, that's not really visible. The ATEM levels are hitting -10, just barely into the red. That looks good. Cleaner but hot. Let me just crank down the gain that I had added in the ATEM. The real question is it still crackling? Because if it is, it could be an issue with the that could be an issue with my encoder, which could be what's going on. So the crackling, okay, that's really too bad. I don't have a way to solve that right now. Is that actually true? That's not true. I do have a way to solve it. Yes, crackling. Okay. So people are saying the crackling remains, which means that it is, in fact, probably the RTMP stream going to my little decoder. I can try pushing to my Raspberry Pi instead. Do you want to try that? It'll be a real test. Go from the YoloBox to my Raspberry Pi instead of to the other encoder. So how can I do that? I can do that. Okay. End stream and start anew via YouTube Studio. I don't need to end the stream to do that. I can just push to YouTube's backup URL and it'll flip over. But I'll lose my comments if I do that. I'm going to try this Raspberry Pi one first. So what we're going to do is do this live because that's always fun. I am going to... oh yeah, so the way I'm looking at my multi-view on the on my computer is because I'm VPN into my studio. So I should be able to get into my Pi from this too, if I can remember the IP address. Oh, it's the IP of my companion, so it's 200.40. And can I get in? Yes, I can. Now I can find my RTMP URL, which, good thing I have this set up. Okay, 1940. So what I'm going to do is, I wish I could show you this YoloBox screen a little better so you can follow along. I need to tip it up because there's a huge glare from that light that's directly above it, which I want to show you because the light is what we're actually here to look at, not messing with these settings. But hey, you know, yeah, I can't avoid the glare. The video, oh, Chris says definitely the RTMP has the video glitches sometimes as well. Okay, so we're going to switch over to the Pi. What I'm doing is adding a new RTMP source in the YoloBox Pro, which it sends an email. Alexander says it could be some kind of clocking or sample rate conversion issue to me, which is likely the problem because I have no idea what the sampling rate of the ATEM or the YoloBox is, and I am converting it in my studio with that device. But I can go and add in the custom, we're going to call it Raspberry Pi server URL, port 1940, and stream key, cool. Send it to the YoloBox. There it is. Oh, here's a question. What happens if I'm streaming in the YoloBox and I check stream to a new location? Is it streaming to two things now? This is an interesting question. We're going to find out. So I'm looking at my ATEM, and what I should see is, oh, look at that. So I'm looking at my multi-view, and there's the one from the encoder that I'm having issues with, and this is the one from the Raspberry Pi, which appears to be a little bit more delayed. But I'm getting both video and audio there. So if I switch over to the audio from that and the video, because I don't want to, it'll be super delayed otherwise. We're going to do auto follow video on those. And let me get rid of the compressor on that channel. Okay. It's going to sound weird when I cut over because they're not in sync. So here we go. So here we go. Cut over. That's the cutover. You could see the transition. And now we are on the Raspberry Pi. So how does this sound? Is this any better? Is there still clicking? I really hope this solves it. Oh yeah, that delay is a lot worse on the Raspberry Pi version of the decoder. So let me know in the chat. Say something. Hello, hello. Is there still clicking? Audio is better. Now I can hear. Great. It looks a lot louder too. I hope it's not too loud. Audio levels jumped big time. Sorry about the level difference. Cleaner audio, hotter and better, cleaner audio. Audio levels jumped big time. Excellent. Okay. The delay on this is significantly worse than on the other decoder, which means my messages that I show in the chat might be a little bit out of sync compared to what you are seeing me say. But we're good to go. Okay. The clicks have stopped. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about the gain increase, but I don't think it's clipping now. It just looks like it's a lot. It looks like it's back to like my normal levels. Now I am curious if I should go back to the Rode Wireless Go, so I don't have to worry about this wire. Let's try that. One last change. We're going to go back to the Rode Wireless Go in 3, 2, 1. Now we're on the Wireless Go. So I've got the levels. It looks like it dropped a little bit again. Oh, it's mono. Why is it mono? Oh my God. Give me a stereo signal out of this thing. Okay, I'm going to do that in the ATEM, split the audio. Great. Okay, now we're settled. No. This is too quiet now. I can see that it's way too quiet. Everyone's saying right, which means my speakers are wired wrong. Okay, we're going back to the lav mic because I don't know why the Rode is being so... Oh, now I know why the Rode is being so quiet. Bump that up. There we go. Now this is better, right? Finally settled. Yes. Okay. More gain. Stereo but quiet. Very quiet. This should be fine now. I think there's a couple of delays going on between the chat and my RTMP delays, so hopefully we're good now. Anybody got a timestamp? Yeah, set the dB to higher on the Rode. I just did that. That bumped it up. Better, 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 better. Thanks, Ryan. And better. Perfect. We're good to go. Okay. I need to do the little Zoom stinger to bookmark this for myself when I scroll back. Okay. We seem to have got all of the audio issues worked out. So hopefully you've skipped ahead to this point and didn't watch that whole disaster. Now we can talk about what we're here to actually talk about. Oh yeah, I can take off my tethered microphone because we're on the wireless one. So we are here in the studio. We've now shown you several camera angles and ready to show you around the room a little bit. So first I want to show how I've got this angle set up and talk about the lighting issues that I've had with that. So this is what it looks like from back here of actually like using this as a, sitting at the desk. You bring your own computer and then you plug it into, the one cable to connect to that CalDigit hub. And then that connects you to that nice microphone, Shure SM7B. as well as connects you to this Elgato capture card if you do want to bring in the camera into your computer. And that camera is actually mine, but it will eventually be replaced by one that they buy for their A6400. And then we've got this Elgato Key Light. I have had no end of trouble with that light today. It's not that it's a bad light, it's that it's completely inappropriate for this use case. This use case being using it in a shared office. So the idea with this space is that people bring their own laptops, plug in, it's ready to go. The Elgato Key Light gets on Wi-Fi, and you have to have an app installed on your computer to control it, which means we would have to tell people how to download the app in order to turn on the light, which just seems a little bit silly. And there's a power switch, so I can turn it on and off, but I can't adjust anything in it. So it's, you can't see on that camera, but the color temperature is slightly warmer than the big light in here. Fine. I can't tell what brightness it's at. It does not look to me like it's full brightness. It looks significantly dimmer than what I would expect it to be, but I haven't actually used one anyway, so I can't make it brighter, and it needs more light. It is not bright enough at whatever is the default to actually properly light my face. And if you watched the stream from a week and a half ago when I was here the first time, that shot of me at this desk was lit only with that light. So today what I've done is I've actually moved this, or this is the new light that I brought in, this big globe lantern, and I've put it here because I really don't care about the Elgato light at this point. And this globe, this is not meant to be the permanent home for the globe, but it's doing its job at this desk for me right now for this stream, as well as for the stream, the workshop I'm doing tomorrow. I need to look like something there. But the thought is, since I have it pivoting at, you can kind of see it's pivoting at the where that other camera is. I'm going to set this down and go over to it. So the idea, at least for the time being, until I can replace it with a proper light, is to be able to actually just swing it around. So I can go like this, pivot, and now it's pretty much above that table. So let me bring this camera around. Now it's set up to light those two chairs, and that's pretty much where I want it more or less permanently to live for that set. So let me go actually over to that set, which is this one. And that is what it's going to look like. And now it's kind of in the middle between, what did I do? Yes, there I am. So it's kind of in the middle of the two people, and it should be giving a relatively even light to both people in both chairs. So whether I'm sitting there or there. And I think I'm actually going to pull it a little bit closer to me when I don't need to pivot it around to the desk. You may notice there's one problem with this shot still, which is the big glare up here. And that's because it's shining on the wall, which bounces back into the camera, and the wall is not perfectly matte. It's decent, but it's annoying me, and I'm going to fix it. I just realized that my coat is in the shot. I do want to fix that, and the light did not come with the little skirt. Apparently that was an add-on. So I ordered that, which is going to arrive at my house on Friday, and I'm going to bring it back next week. The idea with a skirt is that I can cover up just the side of the light that is reflecting against this wall, and it'll hopefully still be putting enough light out the sides to light up the rest of the room. So that is my theory with that light. It is a lantern light, so it's also throwing light on all the other walls, and the ceiling, and which are white. So it's kind of doing a nice little bounce in here as well, giving the room quite a lot of light. I also turned off the fluorescent light because that light was horrible. So that's that light. Let me go back. Are you following me now? This little USB camera is supposed to be tracking my face. I can see you. Yes, there we go. Okay. There we go. That worked. So I want to pivot this back around to be able to light myself at the desk. Okay. So let's take a look at the comments. What questions do we have in here about this? I wish there was a wired connection on those lights. I do too. Oh yeah, I can see the chat is super ahead of my stream. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. I have to start talking and then click the chat message 2 seconds later than I normally would. Yes. Bob asks, I just did it again. Here we go. Bob asks, is companion part of your build? The Elgato light can be controlled by companion. No, there is no computer installed in this kit. So this is just the video gear and the lighting and microphones, which is an interesting challenge. It's bring your own computer filming space. So I could install companion on a Raspberry Pi and put that in here, but I feel like that opens up too many new cans of worms. Again, given the constraints of this being an office, the Wi-Fi is not, I don't control the Wi-Fi, our IT department controls the Wi-Fi. I don't want to ask them for an Ethernet connection. That sounds like I'm going to get too many questions if I ask for that. So I didn't want to put any computers in here. No, nothing like that. So companion is not part of this. Joe says you might consider a pair of Dasny D50 lights. Think original Elgato light with only with proper knobs. I think what I'm going to do is go with the one I have at my desk at home, which is the same idea. It's a thin panel, and it's a thin panel, and it has knobs on the back as well as a remote. You can get a remote for it, and I think that'll be a perfectly fine solution. I'm trying to find the link to that, the one that I have at home or at the studio. It is, here it is. It is the LEDGO LG, this is quite the model number, 2686. And you're probably going to see that in the chat before I even say it because of the delay of all the RTMPs. Delays introduced in this chain. Anyway, that light is the panel that I have at my desk at the studio, and it gets plenty bright. It does a very good job, so I think I'm going to recommend that for here instead of the Elgato. I feel like the picture quality is, I have to talk first. I keep getting the delay wrong. I have to talk first, then click later. Okay. I feel like the picture quality is not as good as Aaron's own studio, what others think. But then Ryan says it is also going through 2 levels of encoding. Yes, it is the YoloBox streaming to my Raspberry Pi now to the ATEM, in HDMI to the ATEM to YouTube. Yes, Simon, the sockets are not great. So that's the other missing piece of that shot. So I'm going to do a plant or a end table or both. I think that's the last piece there. So probably a table that's a little bit taller than the one there because this one is super short. And then I can do a, so it'll be like maybe slightly higher, maybe exactly the right height to block those outlets, and then probably a plant in the background just for fun also. I don't have an Amazon link. I couldn't find it on Amazon, so it's just a BH link. Sorry. Okay, I caught up on the questions. So you could make the Pi a Wi-Fi access point and connect the light to that. Oh, let me tell you, I tried connecting the light to the building Wi-Fi. It did not work. I'm guessing it didn't work because it only talks 2.4 gigahertz, and the building access points broadcast both with the same name, and I'm guessing that just confused it. I tried connecting it to my phone and my phone's hotspot. It also just didn't connect. Same problem. I don't know why. It does not give you very good error messages. It just says there was a problem. And then I was out of access points. I didn't think to bring an access point with me because I guess maybe I should, since I do like that travel router so much. But that is not a permanent solution. That would not be a good solution. Again, because in order for someone to control it, I would have to tell them to install this app, which is just not a reasonable thing to do. So, okay. Does the light use OAuth when it connects? No. What just happened? My camera battery. So speaking of cameras, the other missing piece here is the second camera. So we're mainly trying to set up the shot for recording at the tables there, and they have one A6400 in here right now. We are going to get a second A6400 in here for the table. In the meantime, I brought mine with only a battery in it. I should have brought my wired battery adapter. I did not. That was a mistake. And because of that, battery just died. So it does not like to be, this is my problem with these Sony cameras. The ZV-1 has been better, I will say, has been better than the A6400, but the A6400, oh, this is probably delayed now too. Sorry about the audio sync on this one. The A6400 USB power does not work great. I will just say that. Yes, this is the Rode Wireless Go mic, and I don't have a lav mic that is short enough to run it into my pocket. I have a 10-foot long lav mic cable, which is a little excessive. So I didn't want to just run 10 feet of wires in my pocket. But yeah, it is very clever of them to put their name nice and big on the mic so that it shows up in these videos. Yes. Oh, yeah. And can I put a link to the webcam I am using? Let me see if I can find a link to that. This is the one. Yes. Okay. OBSBot. So this OBSBot is the link, or this is the link to the OBSBot webcam, which is this one, which is attempting to follow me around the room. And it does an okay job. One of the cool things about this is that it is just USB. It doesn't need anything else. So it does not need to run on a computer, for example. It doesn't need software on the computer that does the tracking. It's all built in. And that also means that it works with the YoloBox Pro. YoloBox Pro added support for more kinds of webcams. So this is connected just directly into the YoloBox Pro over USB, and it doesn't know that it's a fancy tracking webcam because the webcam is just outputting a webcam signal. And I think that's a pretty cool combo, being able to use the auto tracking camera with the YoloBox, because if you look at how small this rig ends up being, it is just the YoloBox with that one wire going over to that little camera, and that's it. So I think that is pretty cool. And no, nothing except my monitoring is running through this MacBook, which is how I do my streams normally. I don't run any of the video signals through the computer. So the Mac, I'm using that for, let's see, kind of get it in the shot if I do that. I'm using this to control the chat, to choose what messages show on the screen. It really wants to go over there. Come back. Come on. Using it to show what is going to show up on the screen. I'm monitoring my multi-view on it, but if my computer went to sleep, then the stream would be still running because the video is not going through the computer at all. Oh, hi, Tom. I just got here, but that tracking cam is super awesome. Your last live stream with all of the cameras was fantastic. That is so many cameras, and I'm a little bit jealous. So, but you don't have this camera yet, so maybe I should send you one because I actually do have an extra one, and that would be a good addition to that. I feel like your excellent collection of cameras, including those old camcorders. Okay, Mark says, your camera focused on the wall rather than you when you went out to the lounge chairs, leaving you slightly out of focus. Oh, how can you help with focus issues when others use the room? Your camera focused on the wall. Did the, oh, do you mean the Sony a6400? Interesting. That's not great. I am going to have to check that. Man, I would like to get my main camera back, speaking of. So, okay. Can I just replace the battery? Because I think I have some extra batteries. This is the problem with battery-powered streaming. That's why I say don't ever use batteries for your streams, because then they just die. Technically, it wasn't battery-powered. It was technically powered over USB. It's just that this camera does not appreciate being powered over USB and a battery at the same time. Where is the battery slot? Am I doing this wrong? Oh my gosh. There we go. Come on. Okay, it's turned back on. And battery exhausted. Really? Really? That was the SD card, not the battery. Sorry for all these technical issues again. This is what happens when I'm not in my normal studio. Everything is different. Where did I put all the extra batteries for that camera? They're somewhere. Are they in this bag? Well, the tracking is mostly working. I'm just too low for it right now. Here's one. Oh yeah, the camera made a little yellow. It showed yellow when it lost me because I went down too fast. Does this battery have any power? Okay. So that YoloBox is awesome. I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm a fan. It's great for this kind of thing because I don't like traveling with a bunch of gear. So it is a very, very portable and small piece of kit because I don't need to bring anything except that and cameras and a couple of wires. And okay, oh yeah, glad to say I'm not the only one with battery issues. Yeah, this is why I always recommend getting the wired adapters that go into the battery slots for cameras. So that is, that way the camera thinks it has a battery, but it's actually powered over wall power. And I've got this main camera powered that way right now. They did have that here when I got here, but I should have brought my own. I guess it was just too much. I didn't think to bring that, and I thought the USB would handle it, but apparently not. So yeah, this camera, and like many I've used, does not like being powered over USB. Even if there's a battery in it, it just can't hold on. It can't hold up to being used that way. Do I like the ZV-1? I do like the ZV-1. It is great little travel camera, and it is, the batteries don't last super long, which is probably my biggest annoyance. No, my biggest annoyance is the tripod screw. The tripod screw is in the worst spot. If you screw the tripod in, it blocks the battery door, which means you can't swap out the SD card or battery unless you take it off the tripod. So I've got this little extra plate to bump it down so I can get it in the right spot so I can open the battery door. The new one, the one they just announced today, the E10, is that the name? ZV-E10. That is very tempting to me because it's basically the feature set of the ZV-1 combined with the image sensor, the sensor and battery of the A6400 line. And I am very tempted to buy it, but what I'm not totally sure about is how actually big it is. I've only seen a couple of reviews of it so far, and nobody's actually really done a proper size comparison, because I guess people don't care about that as much as I do. But I like the size of the ZV-1. I'm not a huge fan of the size of the A6400. It's bigger than I would want it to be, so I'm hoping that it would be only a little bit bigger than the ZV-1. But I haven't seen a actual side-by-side comparison of them. Yeah, the rolling shutter is definitely an issue, and apparently that's the problem with the A6400 sensors. And the ZV-1 is better at it because it's a different sensor. So that's one downside of the new E10. Chris asks, what mics will be used for interviews from the chairs? Not sure you mentioned. The plan for those microphones is these lav mics, or the Rode Wireless Go 2. So one of the reasons for that is because the Rode Wireless Go 2, let me drop a link into it so that it bookmarks it in my stream. The Rode Wireless Go. So Rode Wireless Go 2. The special thing about the Rode Wireless Go 2 is that the receiver, the one receiver, it compared with two mics. So then it has one cable out, which means it is the smallest mixer, if you will. So if I have two microphones and I want to get them into a camera, I need something to combine the two microphones. And if I have just like two wired lav mics, I would need some sort of audio mixer. The smallest of those that I've seen are the little like on-camera cold shoe mounted ones, which are probably what I would use if we go with the wired mic route. But that's the cool thing about the Rode Wireless Go 2 is that it is effectively also a mixer in that you can have the two microphones and then they will get mixed by the receiver, output over one cable to the camera. And again, the constraint here, even though this is like not necessarily what I would normally do or normally recommend for like someone making their own studio, but I want to have as little gear as possible here so that there's just fewer things to explain and create instructions for. So the Rode Wireless Go 2, I think, is a good candidate for that because you turn it on, they are already paired, and then you plug into the camera or you leave the receiver plugged into the camera and it just goes. So, oh yeah, and then Chris says it's a great because they also have independent recording, which is a really good point. And I am probably going to set those up. You have to configure that in the software you have to like download a software for your computer to talk to the devices to configure them over USB. But you can configure them such that as soon as the microphone capsules are turned on, they are recording internally, automatically. Again, there's no record button, which is perfect for this situation, because basically it means that there's always a backup recording available if someone's doing a shoot. As soon as the microphone turns on, they are recording, and that means if they mess up their camera for some reason, or if there was a wireless audio glitch and the audio drops out, there's just, you plug it in to, via USB to your computer, and you can download the audio file off of that. So I think that makes it a very good candidate for using in this scenario where I don't want to have to tell people a list of 5 things just to get their audio set up. Different Chris says, Sarah Dici did a good review of the new Sony today with size comparisons. I will watch that one. I did not watch hers yet. That is excellent. First time live viewer from Australia, thank you for joining. It's always nice throwing my schedule into a mess and getting some people from other places who can't normally join my stream. Okay, Chris also asks, does the YoloBox record well, good resolution, looking for a no-fuss traveling solution? I haven't used it for recording stuff, really. It does record. I don't know exactly what it's recording. I don't know if it's recording the same bit rate that it's streaming at. But it does do recording to the SD card. So that is definitely possible, but I haven't been using it for that because I've really just been using it for doing these actual live streams. Can you share the link for the underplate of the ZV-1? I think it's in my last video description, but I will try to dig it up again as well. Yes, here it is, ZV-1 base mount, ZV-1 base mount bracket. This one is the smallest that you can get. It doesn't have anything on the sides. It's just on the bottom, which is what I like because I don't want it to get any bulkier on the sides. Otherwise, I would just get a bigger camera. DX Thomas says, I just got the Rodecaster Go 2. What are some tips you can suggest? The best tip I can give you is to go watch Tom Buck's channel about the Rodecaster, because he has played with that a lot more than I have. He was in the chat, so go find his channel from that link. Okay, so let's get back to this now that I've messed with the battery stuff, solve that problem. So we talked about this. We talked about the set over at the chairs. I'm gonna fix the cover up the outlet finally, but at least I'm blocking it in this shot since it's right there. The light, this light, I should probably mention what light that is. That is the same one I'm using at my studio. Noticing a theme here. That is the Godox SL152, and that light is, I like that one because it is basically silent. There is a fan, but it's extremely quiet. Actually, the fan in the YoloBox Pro is louder than the fan in the light, which I think is interesting. That light right now is at 50% power, and it's doing a pretty good job lighting up this room. And then I've got the lantern softbox on that, so that is lantern softbox in that. There's the link there. That is not something I've used in my studio. I'm tempted to because I can see some uses for it. But I thought it would be a good candidate here because I don't want just focused light. In this case, I actually want to be able to send light in multiple directions. So those are the 2 links for those products. Like I said, I have this set up in a way where I can sort of pivot the light to be useful here at this table as well as at the set over there. The long-term plan is not to do that. Although maybe I should just keep it that way because, I mean, you're not really going to use this desk and the chairs at the same time, and maybe we don't need a second panel light for the table or for the desk. Interesting, interesting theory. I hadn't really thought about that. What else? What else? Is there a? Oh, I think somebody has scrolled back in time. Okay. What shows are we streaming in that studio? It's probably more for recording, not necessarily streaming, but it could be used for streaming, but there's no streaming gear. There's just the capture card to plug into a computer if you're going to do it that way. But it'll be for the Auth0 and Okta channels, any videos that we do for work, or if someone needs to do teaching, like teaching a workshop like I do, they can come in here and use this space. Oh, Frank says, currently recording quality equals streaming quality in the YoloBox M Pro. That makes sense. That's usually the easiest way to do it. That is the same with the A10 Mini Pro and ISO. And great. So yeah, like I said, I haven't used it for the recording use case yet. I mainly just use it for the streaming. Okay, I think that's about it. What else did I forget? Talked about the little PTZ camera, which is fun. Works fantastic with the YoloBox Pro. Very happy to see that. The 3 HDMI cameras on the YoloBox Pro also means that I can have that camera and the main actual set over here, as well as my little Sony ZV-1 camera, and oh, that battery's about to die. And also the USB camera. Oh, and the SD card video, which I was going to play the little time lapse of me setting that up. Chris says, while using one light would be great, it would mean everyone would have to know how to set it up. That is a good point. The setup is not too complicated. It's mainly just moving it, but yeah, I would have to explain which things to undo so that it doesn't come crashing down, and how to pivot it around, or yeah, a bit of a hassle for sure. Let's see, this is the video from this morning as I was unpacking all these boxes that were here, and everything arrived in these boxes from Amazon over the weekend, and I came in this morning to unpack everything and eventually extracted that light stand, and then put the light on, figured out how to inflate the little globe, and yeah, that was fun little project. So that time lapse I did on the my other favorite little camera, which is the Osmo Pocket, or now it's just DJI Pocket 2. So that was cool. And just copy that file over to the SD card in the YoloBox, and it played it perfectly. So that's also fun. Simon asks, wouldn't the light be in the shot if it's set to the chairs when at the desk? Yeah. So I will have to tell people to like move it out of the way if they're going to be using this, because it would be it'll be in the, I think when I had it swung around, it was like hanging down right here in this shot, which is not great. So yeah, I will have to tell people to like just scoot it out of the way, but I feel like explaining just that you have to move the light. Oh, thanks Darren for the super chat. Get an after-work adult beverage for Beer Tuesday. I absolutely will. And when I'm done here, I am going back to my hotel and I'm going to crash. So thank you for that. Yeah, so the light, I would rather explain to people, just drag it out of the way, drag it back to this spot, you can put tape on the floor, compared to like undo this very heavy bolt and swing it around so that it's in the right spot. I don't know, we'll see. Yes, I will try some software features in the YoloBox Pro next time. Right now I'm using it just as a switcher and encoder, but hey, it's great for that. The interesting thing I'm trying today, which was the cause of the 20 minutes of just BS at the beginning, which did not work, was streaming to my studio to one of the RTMP receivers that I have there. And apparently I need to work on the audio bitrate issue between those two devices talking. I don't think it's the YoloBox's fault. I think it's just that device has some settings that I need to learn better. But now we're streaming to the Raspberry Pi, which is what you're seeing, and that's how I can show the comments on the stream because I'm using my normal studio setup, except the camera happens to be remote. Okay, so I think with that, we're going to wrap up. Let me think. No, yeah, I think that's about it. Just looking around, is there anything else that I didn't talk about in this room? A couple things that I forgot to bring, which I'm going to have to bring back. So I need to solve the key light issue for the desk, whether that's this globe or a new panel. I think I'm leaning towards the panel. I need to get batteries for the remote for that light. Apparently it did not come with batteries, which I guess is fair, and it's AAA's, and I can't find any around the office. I need to get them to get another ACC400 for the desk, and I need to get a cable in here for people to charge their iPhones, which is an important thing. I realized there was no iPhone charger in here, and I think that's it. I think that's about it. Other than that, it's coming together well. Oh, plant. The plant and the table to block the little outlets from that shot, because that's ugly. But in the meantime, I don't know what I'm going to do if I'm going to have to solve it before Monday because we're shooting stuff on Monday for realsies in here. Table plant. Yep. Excellent. Peter asks, can you use the YoloBox Pro as a webcam? That is on the list of things I have been asking them to do because once you've got all the cameras plugged in, it makes sense to be able to use it as a webcam like the A10 Mini. So that is in my wish list, which is coming soon. Oh, Bob, thank you for pointing this one out. Instructions for charging the Rode Wireless Go, as well as a charger for it because it has 3 USB ports that it needs, and there aren't enough USB ports in the room currently. So I'm going to get them to get one of those multi USB port charger bricks for that as well. And now I have to go watch back the end of this video myself to go write that list down, so that I can remember to so that I can give them a list of stuff to buy. All right, that was fun. Thanks all for joining. Thanks for bearing with me at the beginning of that mess of a show trying to troubleshoot my audio. Glad we tracked it down. Glad we solved it because that is definitely unpleasant to hear. And yeah, Frank enjoyed the troubleshooting too. Yeah, I'm glad it was not the YoloBox's fault because I was pretty sure we had great luck last time from the YoloBox streaming directly to YouTube. I just wanted to try something different today so I can get my normal chat messages in here and the music and all of those graphics and the stuff I do in my normal shows. The super chats. One of the reasons I wanted to use my own chat system is I've been working on, I probably shouldn't mention this, but I've been working on automating the recaps of what questions I actually answered during the stream. So what I want to be able to do eventually is not necessarily chapter markers, because I want the chapter markers to be more coarse than that, but I do want in the video description to be able to say, here are all of the questions that I talked about, and here's the timestamps of them, so that you can see exactly what someone typed in when I showed it on the screen. And now that I've moved all of my chat into this system that I've been using for the last several months, I have the information needed for that, which I have now been storing throughout this stream, which would be the first one to actually use it. And what it means is that when I click a message, it shows on the screen, and it logs the timestamp so that I can go back and make that table of contents. So that's just a little sneak peek of new features coming to my catalog of live streams that I'm creating. Unfortunately, I can't go back and do it for past ones, but it will work for all the ones going forward. Well, this is some delightful news. UVC output soon, probably next week. There are always firmware updates shipping with the YoloBox Pro, which is pretty cool. So that is great. Now that I've shown this on the screen, Frank, I'm holding you to it. So I hope you are right. And I hope your developers don't hate you for promising these features so publicly. Okay, thanks for joining, and we're really gonna end this now. I'm gonna have to time this out with that little delay. So thanks for the super chats. Where are the super chats? Here they are. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for hanging out with me for the last hour. It's been fun. My little color overlay doesn't work so well against the color background, but oh well. Things you learn when moving to new studios. All right, that's it. I'm out. Gonna go crash in my hotel and see you all later. I may have a surprise for you on Black Magic Thursday.